Okay, now let's talk about how to choose the topic and type of the channel. It is a very, very important thing to think about at the beginning of your channel journey, at the very beginning, at least very, very close to the channel creation, because it is a bit more difficult to change it in the future, and it will reset. It may reset the progress that you already done, but it is not forbidden to change the topic and the type of the channel a bit in the future, but try to come up with the topic and the type at the very beginning or close to the beginning. For example, if you go and upload 50 videos on a certain topic and type and then decide that you don't want this anymore, changing it will result in alienation of your audience, and it's better to have the topic and the type of the channel at the very, very beginning. But first, before we'll go talking about what topic to choose, what types to choose, etc., etc., let's discuss what topic and the type of the channel actually means. So let's go with the topic first. So what is the topic of the channel? Topic of the channel is what your channel is about. And on YouTube, this is usually called a niche. Niche is a very, very narrow type of the topic. Basically, for example, is your channel about technology, or is your channel about making money online, or is your channel about gaming or specific gaming? So you need to understand that, for example, the channel about gaming is a topic, but it's not a niche. It's a bit of difference. It's quite a big of distinction, because gaming is very broad sense. In a sense, it's a very, very broad thing, and just classifying gaming as a topic is a bit more difficult than it's classifying as a genre. Gaming is more like a genre than the topic. So if you want to go with a gaming topic, you can say that, let's say, strategy games is the topic or the niche, whatever you want to call it, because it's a very, very vague distinction. Like, many people are calling niche gaming a niche, but in my opinion, gaming is not a niche. It's a genre and close to the topic. So you need to choose something that you want your channel is about. For example, again, strategy games, or if you want a technology, you are concentrating on Macs, maybe on Mac computers or on Apple computers, or you're concentrating on iPhones. For example, if you go with one of my channels, I have gaming channel as well, which is more concentrated on sci-fi and fantasy games, and specifically in that, I'm focusing more on modded games, meaning that modding the games that are not made sci-fi or fantasy-like, and just transforming it into the fantasy-like. For example, if I'll take a strategy game that is about historical battles and transforming it into transforming into the Lord of the Rings strategy. Like, it's something like that. It is like I'm making the topic and narrowing it down as much as possible. And with this, I find very, very specific audience that will like my channel. We're gonna go about the specificity and niching down a bit later, but you need to understand that you need a topic that is as narrow as possible. You don't need to choose as broad as possible, because choosing a broad topic or getting closer to genre than just topic or niche will make it a bit harder, because the topic is way too big. The people are very, very different in the genres. Like, they're very, very different within a single genre as well. For example, people in the gaming niche are completely separate from, like, let's say, the shooter, the FPS niche is very, very different from the strategy niche. And if you are making an FPS content, doesn't mean that people that like strategy games will like it. So you understand this. You need to go as narrow as narrow as possible. Don't go wide, as narrow as possible. Go with a very, very specific topic. You can, of course, expand a bit later, but at first, try to go with as narrow as possible. And what's most importantly, do make a content about the topic that you know. Don't go into the things that you don't understand, or you just want to know. No. Always go to the topic that you know. always 100% you need to be expert in the field, or at least you need to be closer to the expert, because people need to come to you for the knowledge or entertainment or whatever you're doing, that will go to the type in just a few seconds. But you need to know these things well. You need to know these things more than your viewer do, for viewer to be viewable, if it makes sense, of course. Now let's switch to the type. We're gonna, of course, return to the topic later in more intermediate section, and we're gonna return to topic more and more. But let's switch to the type right now. Like type, when you choose the topic, you are choosing type only after that. You can choose the type beforehand, but topic is type is not the thing that you know. Type is the thing how you will give out your content, how you create your content, what type of format your content will have. And usually we have three main types of content. They are not completely independent, meaning that if you create one type of content, you cannot create a second one, or you cannot merge two of them, all three of them at once. But if you want to have a distinction, you can differentiate the types of content into three different types. First is education, meaning that this content is meant to teach people what you are doing in a certain topic. Second is entertainment. You are just entertaining people, and people should enjoy and have fun with the content. And last but not least is information/news content, meaning that you're talking about the stuff that is happening right now and giving a news breakdown, etc., etc. Education and entertainment content is more evergreen content, meaning that they are active and they are watchable for a really long time, but usually have less views. And informational content are usually active and important at the moment of the recording. They're very short-lived content, but they gain a lot of views as well. But they're a bit more high risk. Again, we're going to talk about the types and topics later, but you need to know as a beginner that you need to choose one of them. Concentrate on one of them first, on one of the types of the content, and then you can spill out as you will learn, as you will understand your videos, as you will understand your strength and what you can do with your videos. You can more spill out into the other types, or you can just merge all of them at the same time, or do all of the videos at the same time. Just understand that different types of content has different audiences as well, even within the same very narrow niche. Different types of content have different audiences. So if you'll create one type of audience in one very narrow niche, you will get a very, very specific audience. That is very, very, very great thing to have. So this will be it for the topic and type. You don't need to know more than this at the same time. And let's just get to another lecture.